I do. Remember, I'm a Putin puppet, so I got the secret microphone. No, it suddenly puts into perspective. Russia was seeking, bending over backwards, a diplomatic resolution. They were begging for Minsk to be implemented. Putin told Biden, if you want to stop what's going on, and when they met in Geneva 2021, implement Minsk. Biden promised, but he lied because they all lied about it. The Russians, in a final act of diplomatic desperation, put forward draft treaties about a new security framework in Europe that would take Ukraine out of NATO, but resolve this. There would be no fighting, and they were turned down. We didn't trade them seriously, but we said it was the Russians being aggressive with diplomacy. No, the Russians were desperate for peace, and here's the final proof of that. They invade Ukraine, but they don't invade Ukraine. The special military operation was not an invasion. If it was an invasion, we wouldn't be talking about it today because it would have been over. But the Russians went in soft, went in gentle. We couldn't understand why they did it. Why? Because they didn't want to go to war. They didn't want to go to war. They didn't organize for war, politically, militarily, anything. They were forced into this environment to preserve the ethnic Russian population of the Donbass. And how do we know they were looking for peace? Because they sat down in Istanbul willing to sign a peace agreement that said just the Donbass, just Crimea, Ukraine, stay out of NATO, but everything will be okay. That is a huge step back from what they claimed they wanted the special military operation, but Russia wasn't seeking to impose its will on anybody. They wanted peace, and they were denied. Were denied by the West, who always wanted war. This isn't about Boris Johnson deciding on the spur of the moment that he's going to fly in and shut down the Istanbul Agreement. This is Boris Johnson implementing NATO policy to go to war against Russia. So that's where we are today.
So Russia was
go ahead, George.
So Russia was naive in 2014 and naive in 2024, because then you could just say, yeah, in 2024 they should have done what the Americans would have done in the same circumstances: shock and awe, knock Ukraine out right away, just simply by the overwhelming force, and suddenly, hey, we're facing Russia, we have to sue for peace right away. So the Russians were naive.
Putin acknowledges this.
Everybody, George said 2024. He meant 2022. Sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I meant February. It's a shorthand. February.
I don't want you to think that you have a secret earplug from the Kremlin.
February 24. Yeah, of this year. Yes, exactly. That's how I said.
But I do. Remember, I'm a Putin puppet, so I got the secret microphone. No, look, Vladimir Putin has acknowledged that he was naive in 2014.